even if those of us who aren't brain scientists may start, after Abigail Marsh's presentation, to brag to our friends about the size of our amygdala.
And our final expert speaker for today is being introduced by Bobby McLaughlin, who recently told us that donating a kidney was, quote, one of the best decisions I have ever made, end quote.
One of the great decisions of my life came to fruition January 2nd, 2019. That's when I went from life with 2 kidneys to life with 1 kidney. I had no idea removing an organ would bring so much joy to my life. Of all the benefits of kidney donation, for me, one stands above all the rest. The hordes of amazing people I've had enter my life. Kidney donation has unlocked a host of amazing opportunities for me. I've been able to share my kidney story with 30 orphans in Swaziland. I've shared adventures in Colorado 14er summits with other kidney donor athletes. And I completed my first marathon, the Marine Corps Marathon, last October. One of the latest great opportunities is introducing our next speaker. Jim Gleason, the president of TRIO, Transplant Recipients International Organization, is a 1994 heart transplant recipient. He's certainly made the most of his time with his new heart. Jim retired from UNOS in 2005 after a 36-year career. He has a lengthy list of volunteer activities with multiple organizations, has authored a book on his transplant experience, and has been a multiple medal winner in the transplant games. We are all most fortunate when amazing people enter our lives, and all of us who have this opportunity to listen to Jim will clearly have benefited greatly. Without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce the most amazing Jim Gleason.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Gleason. I'm a heart transplant recipient out 26 years with this donated heart, a gift of life, and I'm here today sharing a giving life philosophy that I've given the name Cookie Monster. First thing we're going to do is start out with a test. This is a very simple test. You get to answer it yes or no. You do not get to ask any questions. And the question you have to answer is, are you a cookie monster? Okay, what did you say? Yes or no? You have to pick an answer. And typically, if we have an audience here, about 20% would have their hand raised as saying yes, and the others would say no. Now, you don't know what a cookie monster concept is, so that is a challenge. Basically, what is a cookie monster? They're a person that's looking for and expecting to find the free cookies in daily life, and those cookies will come. It's based on a simple story of a father who came down in the morning and left a message at the kitchen table. And it said simply, something very special is going to happen to you today. And as the kids came down and the wife came down, they all read that and went off and did their day. And when they came back that night, they said to Dad over the dinner table, how did you know? And they each had a story of something special that happened to them that day. Well, as you can imagine, the reality is both good and bad events happen every day in our lives. And the Cookie Monster focus is we celebrate life's daily good events, undeserved, what we call free cookies. And so a Cookie Monster expects everyone they meet are good, until proven otherwise, just a friend they haven't met yet. And so given that question, they expect it to be good and will say yes. Now the non-Cookie Monsters are more cautious. They're expecting anyone they meet to be a potential threat, to avoid the possible danger. Years ago, I took the family into New York City for a show. And for lunch, we stopped at a McDonald's. Now, what advice do you give anybody going to New York, right? Don't talk to strangers. We were sitting there, and the 3 kids and my wife fit at one table, and I was at the next table over by myself. And the next table over from that was a Spanish-looking woman facing my direction, having her lunch. And of course, being a Cookie Monster, I said hi. And we had a conversation. She ended up offering me some of her homemade peppers. What a beautiful thing to do. And it turned out we had a conversation. She was very nervous because her ex-husband had custody of their daughter that day, and she was so afraid that he would not return her that day. And so I was able to give her some assurance that I'm sure it would work out. And the Cookie Monster did what they often do, and that is they made friends of a stranger, and they had a good listening and gave the gift of friendship. So what are free cookies, you say? Some might say good luck. Cookie Monsters use the term free cookies. They're the little and big happenings every day. Cookie Monsters on the alert, savoring and sharing and celebrating those little and big events. They're good deeds, a gift of self. Reaching out to somebody you don't know, saying hi. Maybe somebody sent you flowers just because. Or how about living kidney donor, altruistic or a family friend? That's a big good deed. Often, an actual edible cookie is the free cookie. And so, for example, I was in a small town where I lived, went to the stationery store, and the woman was working behind the counter, and she had some Christmas cookies out on the counter. And I said, wow, look at that. I said, I'm a Cookie Monster, and I told her all about what the free cookies meant. And she's here, wait a minute. And she went in the back room and came out with some homemade 7-layer thick Christmas cookies for me. And so sometimes the cookies are actually edible cookies. Coming back from California late one night on a flight that was going toward midnight, I happened to end up in first class. I didn't pay for it. I've never flown in first class before or since, but this was an exceptional flight. I couldn't get over it. We had a great meal. It was a very uncrowded flight. And so when the captain around midnight came down the aisle, I said, sir, can I say something to you? And I told him what a great flight this was. This was the best flight of my life. And later on, when I went to the bathroom up by the cockpit, he had the whole crew around him. And when I came out, he said, excuse me, sir, could you tell them what you told me? And I shared the story of Cookie Monsters and free cookies. And one of the stewardess said, you're not going to believe this, but as we come in to land in Philadelphia, we bake fresh chocolate chip cookies as we come in. And sure enough, as we made our landing, there was that aroma, chocolate chip cookies. So often free cookies can be actual edible cookies. And so if we have a motto for the Cookie Monster Club, the Worldwide Cookie Monster Club, it would be changing the world one smile at a time. Now, how do you find other Cookie Monsters? Well, by a law of nature, Cookie Monsters naturally gravitate to each other. A Cookie Monster says hi to any stranger, like I did in New York City. Non-Cookie Monsters would ask the Cookie Monster, how do you know them? And the Cookie Monster would reply, I never met that person before, but I did now. Now, a fellow Cookie Monster, what would they ask? They wouldn't ask at all because they understand that you don't have to know the person to be friendly. And so some famous Cookie Monsters that you may know, I don't know if you recall Dr. Love, Leo Biscaglia, Pope John Paul II, President John Kennedy, Mother Teresa, perfect example, Richard Simmons, Anthony Robbins, President Ronald Reagan was known for his smile and his stories, and I would include Michelle and President Barack Obama. I'll give you an action after this show is over. Go look up those names on the internet and see if you can find a video of them giving a talk. Especially start with Leo Biscaglia, and you will see what a Cookie Monster is all about when you listen to their voices. So, recognizing a Cookie Monster when you see one, here are some things to look out for. First of all, they use different words with enthusiasm, and if you were to write down those words, they would have many exclamation points after those words. They use a unique language. For example, they would never say they have a problem. Rather, it's a challenge or an opportunity, something to be overcome and celebrated. So how are you, they ask. Most people answer that, not bad. That's a non-Cookie Monster answer. And I often turn around and say, not bad, do you mean good? Naturally, the non-Cookie Monster expects something going on. They're afraid to change their answer, even though, as far as I'm concerned, the two are the same. Not bad, good, they're afraid to say they're good. A Cookie Monster would automatically say, Great. Never better. A Cookie Monster naturally smiles a lot. They're outgoing and sharing. Basically, their attitude is, we're just friends we haven't met yet. They don't just laugh, they bubble. They take time to smell the roses, whatever that means in any particular environment. And they pass that earlier test with a yes response. And finally, you'll recognize a Cookie Monster when you see one because every morning they get up early and have a personal mantra. Mine is, hot damn, another day. Okay, life, give me your best shot. This day is going to be a great one. And that image you see on the screen of the big yes, that's a perfect embodiment in a graphic of what that is. Now, you want to become a member? Well, it's not an exclusive club. It's an inclusive club that welcomes everyone. You can join at any time. There's no limit to when you can join. And the criteria is you just want to share a Cookie Monster life philosophy with others. As far as age requirements, certainly not chronological age. Cookie Monsters actually celebrate getting younger with each passing year. Now, when we were talking about this concept over time, a number of Cookie Monsters came back with something beyond just the free cookies concept. Free cookies, again, are those unexpected nice things that happen in everyone's life every day. Some new suggested terminology was cookie crumbs. The little deeds we Cookie Monsters do for everyone in our lives every day. The remains of Cookie Monster leaves behind them. Or how about cookie dough? That would refer to people who are still Cookie Monsters in the making. And out of such cookie dough, that is people developing an attitude of expecting the best in each day and person they encounter, future Cookie Monsters are made. So you might be asking yourself after this long day, what does this have to do with living donation? Well, by definition, living kidney or liver donors are most likely Cookie Monsters. Secondly, the success of longevity and life in general with a transplant can be favorably raised through having a Cookie Monster attitude about life. A Cookie Monster patient is more likely to attract a living donor, another Cookie Monster probably. Whether waiting for a donor, a transplant, or living with a transplant, life is better with a Cookie Monster philosophy in dealing with the problems, no, wait a minute, not problems, challenges faced with each stage of that process. And finally, it's just more fun to face life as a Cookie Monster, recognizing and celebrating the good things in life each day, those free cookies. And it's just more fun to be around a Cookie Monster as a caregiver or supporter. So let me close with some additional free cookies for you, some resources. And if you can read it on the screen, first is a chapter from my book. It's an online book, A Gift from the Heart. You can't buy it on Amazon. You can only get it out there free. You can do a search on Gleason Jim or Jim Gleason Heart. You'll find it. And the chapter I'm talking about is chapter 43, the Worldwide Cookie Monster Club. And that parallels basically what we've been talking about today. And then eventually I collected a bunch of free cookies and put them together in another PDF download file that I call the Cookie Jar. 56 inspirational quotes collected by me, the Cookie Monster, for enhancing the joy of living each and every day. And so the links are on the screen. I'm not sure how they might be able to make this whole presentation available to you, but you can always contact me, the Cookie Monster. Jim Gleason, heart transplant recipient, October 19th, 1994. Surviving and thriving ever since. Life full. And so the email, if you want to contact me, is GleasonJim, no period, GleasonJim@AOL.com. Feel free to call me. I haven't met you, my friend, yet. 609-877-4493. I have a website out there which gives you a lot of links like this, GleasonJim.com. Or there's a blog site even, where I share and celebrate some of those free cookies that come in my life every day. And that's at GleasonJim.wordpress.com. Again, my email address, GleasonJim@AOL.com. And I thank you for this opportunity to share this concept and hope that you too can find the joy of life that happens every day in our lives. It's funny, I've counted, there are 12 traffic lights between our home here and our church. And every time we go to church, I automatically count the number of green lights. And if we get 12 green lights, I celebrate that. I have to confess, my wife is not a cookie monster. Sometimes she gets upset with me doing that. When she goes out, she counts the red lights, and she'll tell you, I got every damn red light. Well, I can tell you there are a lot of green lights and a lot of red lights in our lives every day. Which do you choose to focus? I choose the free cookies every day. And I share that story and I celebrate like I have here today. Welcome to Meet the Cookie Monster Philosophy. Thank you very much.
It was great to hear from Jim Gleason and learn about the Cookie Monster. After all, we wanted to introduce you today to the leading experts in the field of advocating for kidney transplants.
And for you to get to know the newly renamed National Kidney Donation Organization, as well as some of our key team members.
But our real goal today was simple and straightforward, to provide volunteer living donor advocates across the country with information.
So that you can leave this conference better equipped to advocate for living donation.
Since we've provided you with so much programming today, I'm going to request that you direct any comments you have, along with any queries or requests for additional information, to us via YouTube chat.
Yes, your questions will be addressed at a Zoom session 1 week from now. In addition, please remember that this entire program, as well as each of today's speaker presentations individually, will be available on the NKDO YouTube channel.
And we truly hope you enjoyed watching this Volunteer Living Donor Advocacy Conference as much as we love producing it for you. On behalf of Ned Brooks and everyone at the National Kidney Donation Organization, thanks for joining us today.